Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood in the command center of the Federation's biggest space station. His hands shook as he read the reports coming in from across the galaxy. The news was bad, very bad. "Sir, we just lost contact with the Kepler system," said Lieutenant Park Soo-jin. Her voice was quiet, scared. "That makes 17 worlds in 2 weeks. Kang Dae-ho closed his eyes. 17 worlds. Billions of lives. Gone. Not just destroyed, but eaten. Consumed by something that should not exist. The Devourers had returned. For 1,000 years, they had slept in the dark spaces between stars. Ancient machines that ate everything, planets, stars, even the energy that held atoms together. The Federation had hoped they were just a bad dream from the old times. They were wrong. Dr. Park Ji-min rushed into the command center. Her lab coat was dirty and her eyes were red from no sleep. She carried a data pad with shaking hands. "Admiral, I have the analysis you wanted," she said. "It's worse than we thought." Kang Dae-ho took the data pad. The numbers made his stomach turn. The Devourers were not just eating matter. They were learning. Each world they consumed made them smarter, faster, stronger. "How long do we have?" he asked. Dr. Park Ji-min looked at the floor. "At their current speed, they will reach the core worlds in 6 months. Maybe less." The command center went quiet. Everyone knew what that meant. The core worlds held the Federation's capital. 20 billion people lived there. The best scientists, the strongest fleets, the greatest minds in the galaxy. If the core worlds fell, everything fell. "What about our weapons?" asked Commander Lee Tae-sung. He was a good soldier, but Kang Dae-ho could see the fear in his eyes. "Nothing works," Dr. Park Ji-min said. "The Veltari tried their crystal cannons. The weapons just made the Devourers stronger. The Nethians used their gas clouds to poison entire systems. The Devourers ate the poison and thanked them for dessert. The Korthak sent their biggest hive ships. They lasted 3 minutes. Kang Dae-ho felt old. Very old. He had fought in many wars, but this was different. This was not war. This was extinction. "There must be something," he said. "Some weapon we have not tried. Some plan we have not made." Dr. Park Ji-min shook her head. "We have tried everything, sir. Every weapon, every strategy, every trick we know. The Devourers adapt to all of it. They learn from our attacks and become immune. It's like fighting the universe itself." The doors to the command center opened. Council leader Yoon Hae-ri walked in. She was Veltari, tall and thin with skin like blue crystal. Her people were the smartest in the galaxy. If anyone had an answer, it would be her. "Admiral," she said, "I have called an emergency meeting of the High Council. All races must hear what I have to say." Kang Dae-ho followed her to the great meeting hall. Representatives from 50 different worlds sat in a circle. The Veltari with their crystal bodies. The Nethians, floating like colorful clouds. The Korthak, speaking with one voice from 1,000 minds. All of them looked scared. Yoon Hae-ri stood in the center. "Friends, we face the end of everything we know. The Devourers have returned, and we cannot stop them. Our weapons fail. Our strategies fail. We are going to die." A Korthak drone buzzed with anger. "There must be a way. We are the Federation. We have conquered space itself." "Space does not. Fight back," Yoon Hae-ri said. "The Devourers do. They learn. They adapt. They grow stronger with every world they eat." A Nethian cloud shifted colors from blue to red. "What do you suggest? That we surrender? Give up without trying?" Yoon Hae-ri was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was different, scared but determined. "I suggest we call the humans." The hall exploded with noise. Every race started shouting at once. The Korthak drones buzzed like angry bees. The Nethians turned dark storm colors. Even the calm Veltari looked shocked. "You cannot be serious," said General Mok Shin-woo of the Korthak. "The humans are banned, exiled. They are too dangerous. More dangerous than extinction? Yunhai-ri asked. Commander Lee Tae-sung stepped forward. The Red Sol incident happened 300 years ago. We all agreed. Humans are too violent, too unpredictable. They fight wars in ways that make no sense. Exactly, Yunhai-ri said. They fight in ways that make no sense. The Devourers understand us. They predict our moves because we are logical. We follow rules. We have honor. Humans do not. The room went quiet. Everyone remembered the stories. The humans who would blow up their own ships to win battles. Who would sacrifice everything for people they did not even know, who fought with tricks and lies and weapons that should not work. Dr. Park Ji-min stood up. The human exile zone is beyond the galactic edge. It would take weeks to send a message. Weeks more to get a reply. We might not have that much time. Then we better start now, Yunhai-ri said. Admiral Kang Dae-ho felt something he had not felt in months. Hope. It was small and fragile, but it was there. What message do we send? He asked. Yunhai-ri thought for a moment. Then she smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We tell them the truth, she said. We are dying. We need help. And we are sorry. Commander Lee Tae-sung walked to the communication station. His fingers moved slowly over the controls. He was sending a message to people the galaxy had thrown away, people they had called monsters and barbarians. Message ready, sir, he said. Admiral Kang Dae-ho nodded. Send it. The message went out, into the dark. Past the edge of known space, to worlds where humans lived in exile. It was a simple message, but it carried the weight of the galaxy. To the Human Colonial Defense Force. This is the Galactic Federation. We are under attack by an enemy we cannot defeat. 17 worlds have fallen. Billions are dead. We face extinction within 6 months. We know we have no right to ask, but we need your help. We are dying. Please respond. The message traveled at the speed of light toward the human worlds. Behind it, the Devourers continued their feast. They ate another star system while the Federation waited for an answer that might never come. In the command center, Admiral Kang Dae-ho watched the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity lived in exile. Somewhere out there, the Devourers grew stronger. And somewhere in between, the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. Captain Kim So-ra was fixing a broken water pump when the message arrived. The red dirt of New Busan stuck to her clothes as she crawled under the machinery. This was not the kind of work fleet captains usually did, but humans in exile could not afford to waste anyone. Captain, Sergeant Lim Yu-jin called from the communication building, you need to see this. Kim So-ra pulled herself out from under the pump. Her hands were dirty, and sweat ran down her face. New Busan was a hard world with 2 suns and not enough water. But it was home now. She walked across the settlement toward the comm building. Around her, other humans worked on their daily tasks. Children played between the prefab buildings. Old people sat in the shade and told stories. It was a simple life, but it was theirs. Inside the comm building, Sergeant Lim Yu-jin was staring at a screen with wide eyes. Captain, it's from the Federation. The Galactic Federation. Kim So-ra felt her heart skip. Nobody had heard from the Federation in decades. The last message had been simple. Stay away. Do not return. Do not contact us. Play it, she said. The message was short but heavy. Federation Admiral Kang Dae-ho spoke with a tired voice about devourers and death and the end of everything. When it finished, the comm building was silent. Are they serious? Lim Yu-jin asked. They threw us out and now they want our help? Kim So-ra read the message again. 17 worlds destroyed, billions dead. The Devourers had returned from whatever dark place they had been sleeping. Get me General Cho Min-ho, she said. Emergency channel. The call went out to the human command center on the planet Sejong. It took several minutes for the connection to go through. When General Cho Min-ho's face appeared on screen, he looked older than Kim So-ra remembered. "Captain Kim," he said. "I suppose you got the message too." "Yes, sir." "What are your orders?" General Cho Min-ho was quiet for a long moment. "I'm calling an emergency council. All senior officers, all colony leaders, all ship captains. We need to talk about this." The council meeting happened in virtual space. Representatives from 30 human worlds appeared as holograms around a digital table. Kim So-ra recognized most of them. These were the survivors, the ones who had built new homes from nothing. Admiral Song Kyung-min spoke first. She commanded the human fleet such as it was. 20 ships, maybe 30 if they counted the cargo haulers. "I've been monitoring Federation communication channels," she said. "The situation is real. The Devourers are back, and they're winning." Engineer Lim Yu-jin, no relation to the sergeant, pulled up star charts. Red marks showed where systems had gone dark. The pattern was clear and terrible. "At this rate, the core worlds fall in 6 months," she said. "After that, the Devourers will keep expanding. Eventually, they'll reach us too." Colonel Park Dong-soo crossed his arms. "Let them. The Federation made their choice 300 years ago. They called us monsters and threw us out. Now they want us to die for them?" "It's not about them," said Dr. Baek Na-young. She was old, one of the few who remembered Earth before the exile. "It's about survival. If the galaxy falls, we fall with it." General Cho Min-ho leaned forward. "Dr. Baek, you studied the Devourers during the First War. What can you tell us?" The old woman's eyes went distant. "They're not just machines. They're something else. Something that learns and grows and hunts. During the First War, every conventional weapon failed. Every strategy, every trap, every alliance. The galaxy only survived because the Devourers went to sleep." "Why did they go to sleep?" asked Captain Woo Ji-hoon. Dr. Baek Na-young looked around the virtual table. "Nobody knows. Maybe they got bored. Maybe they ate enough. Maybe something scared them." "What could scare the Devourers?" Kim So-ra asked. "Us," Dr. Baek Na-young said quietly. "I think it was us." The council went quiet. The old woman continued. "The Red Sol incident happened right before the Devourers went dormant. The Federation says we went crazy, that we became too violent. But I was there. I remember. We didn't go crazy. We did what we had to do." Admiral Song Kyung-min leaned forward. "What really happened at Red Sol?" Dr. Baek Na-young closed her eyes. "We learned something about ourselves, something that scared, even us. The Federation saw it and panicked. They thought we were the monsters." "Were we?" asked Colonel Park Dong-soo. "Maybe," Dr. Baek Na-young said. "But maybe monsters are what the galaxy needs right now." The debate went on for hours. Some wanted to ignore the Federation's call. Others wanted to help but demanded conditions. A few suggested they should conquer the Federation instead of saving it. Finally, General Cho Min-ho called for quiet. "We have a choice. We can stay here and hope the storm passes us by, or we can face it head-on." "What's your recommendation, sir?" Kim So-ra asked. "I think Dr. Baek is right. If the Devourers consume the galaxy, they'll come for us eventually. Better to fight them now with allies than later alone." Admiral Song Kyung-min nodded. "Our ships are ready. Not pretty, but they work. We can have a small fleet there in 2 weeks." "What about terms?" asked Colonel Park Dong-soo. "Do we crawl back begging for forgiveness?" General Cho Min-ho smiled, but it was not a nice smile. "No, we go as equals or not at all." The vote was close, but it passed. Humanity would answer the Federation's call, not as exiled criminals begging for mercy, but as equals offering help. Kim So-ra volunteered to lead the mission. Her ship, the Gwangju's Revenge, was old but tough. More important, Her crew knew how to fight the kind of war the Federation had forgotten. As the council meeting ended, Dr. Baek Na-young sent a private message to Kim So-ra. "Captain, there's something you need to know. The Devourers aren't just eating matter and energy. They're trying to understand consciousness itself. Every mind they consume teaches them more about how intelligent life thinks." "What does that mean?" Kim So-ra asked. "It means they can predict almost every move the Federation makes. The aliens think in logical, orderly ways. But humans..." Dr. Baek Na-young smiled. "Humans think in ways that make no sense. We're chaos in the shape of people. That might be enough." The message went out to the Federation 3 days later. It was short and simple. To Admiral Kang Dae-ho and the Galactic Federation. "This is General Cho Min-ho of the Human Colonial Defense Force. We have received your message. A human fleet is coming to assist. We will arrive in Federation space. In 2 weeks. We come not as your subjects, but as your equals. Keep your people alive until we get there. Cho out." Kim So-ra read the message before it was sent. It was perfect. No apologies, no begging, no promises they might not keep. Just humans being human. She went back to fixing the water pump. In a few days, she would leave New Busan and return to the galaxy that had thrown her people away. She would fight monsters that ate stars and creatures that defied understanding. But first, she had to make sure the pump worked. People needed water, whether they were facing extinction or not. That was the human way. Take care of the small things. And the big things would take care of themselves. Maybe the Federation had learned that lesson by now. Maybe not. Either way, they were about to get a reminder of what humanity could do when pushed to the edge. The stars waited. The Devourers waited. And somewhere in between, a small human fleet prepared to do the impossible once again. The human fleet arrived at Kepler 442b just as the Devourers began their attack on the planet. Captain Kim So-ra watched from the bridge of the Gwangju's Revenge as massive black shapes moved between the stars like hungry sharks. "Sir, Federation, fleet is hailing us," said Communications Officer Park Hyun-woo. "Put them through," Kim So-ra said. Fleet Admiral Park Jin-woo appeared on the main screen. He was Veltari, tall and thin with crystal blue skin. His face showed surprise and maybe disappointment. "Human vessels, this is Admiral Park Jin-woo. We appreciate your arrival, but..." He paused, looking at something off-screen. "Are those cargo ships?" Kim So-ra smiled. The human fleet did not look impressive. Old freighters welded with armor plates, mining ships with weapons bolted to their hulls, ships that had been built to work, not to look pretty. "These are warships." "Admiral," she said, "they just don't look like yours." "I see," Admiral Park Jin-woo said. He did not sound convinced. "Perhaps you should stay back while we handle the first wave of attackers." "No, thank you," Kim So-ra said. "We came here to fight." She cut the communication and turned to her crew. "Major Shin Dong-hyun, are your people ready?" Major Shin Dong-hyun commanded the human ground forces. He was a big man with scars on his hands and a smile that made enemies nervous. "Ready as we'll ever be, Captain. My boys are excited to try out some new tricks." Kim So-ra nodded. "Captain Jang Mi-young, how's your bird?" Captain Jang Mi-young commanded a ship called the Seoul Express. It looked like a broken-down cargo hauler, but looks could lie. "She's ugly, but she flies," Jang Mi-young said. "Ready for Operation Confusion?" Kim So-ra took a deep breath. "All ships, begin the show." The Federation fleet watched in horror as the human ships scattered in all directions. They moved without formation, without pattern, without any military sense at all. Some ships flew straight at the Devourers, others seemed to run away. A few just spun in circles. "What are they doing?" Admiral Park Jin-woo asked his tactical officer. "I have no idea, sir," the officer replied. "Their movements make no sense." The Devourers seemed confused, too. They had fought the Federation for weeks and learned all their patterns. Neat formations, logical tactics, predictable strategies. but the humans were doing nothing predictable. Captain Jang Mi-young flew the Seoul Express directly into the middle of a devourer swarm. Her ship looked damaged, trailing fake smoke and spinning like it was out of control. "Federation ships, this is Seoul Express," she broadcast on open channels. "My engines are failing. I'm going to crash." But instead of crashing, she began broadcasting something else. Human music filled the communication channels, old rock songs from Earth, pop music from the colonies, children singing nursery rhymes. The devourers had never heard anything like it. Their collective consciousness tried to analyze the sounds, to find patterns and meaning. But human music was chaos and emotion and things that could not be calculated. Soul. "Express! What are you doing?" Admiral Park Jin-woo demanded. "Making them angry," Jang Mi-young replied. Then she began reading poetry over the radio. Bad poetry, love poems and war poems and funny poems about dogs. The devourers started making mistakes. They fired at empty space. They crashed into each other. For the first time in the war, they acted confused instead of certain. Major Shin Dong-hyun took advantage of the chaos. His boarding parties launched from hidden airlocks, using tactics that made the Federation crews sick to watch. Team 3, play dead, he ordered over the radio. Human soldiers floated in space, pretending to be corpses. When Devourer scout ships came to examine them, the dead humans came alive and attached explosives to the alien hulls. Team 7 used their own weapons. Human commandos had boarded Devourer ships and turned their weapons against other Devourer vessels. The machine intelligences could not understand why their own guns were shooting at them. Most shocking of all, Specialist Oh Sung-ho did something no one expected. He captured a Devourer drone, and instead of destroying it, he began talking to it. "Hey there, little guy," he said, holding the struggling machine. "You look hungry. Want some chocolate?" He actually gave the drone a candy bar. The machine's programming crashed trying to process this act of kindness toward an enemy. Admiral Park Jin-woo contacted Kim So-ra again. "Captain, your people are violating every rule of war. This is madness." "Yes," Kim So-ra agreed. "That's the point," she explained while her crew continued their chaotic battle. "The Devourers understand you, Admiral. You fight with honor and logic. You have rules and formations and predictable strategies. They've learned to counter everything you do." "And you fight without honor?" the Admiral asked. "We fight to win," Kim So-ra said. "Honor is for people who can afford to lose." The battle raged for 6 hours. The Federation fleet fought bravely but predictably. The human fleet fought insanely but effectively. Together, they drove the Devourers back from Kepler 442b. After the battle, Admiral Park Jin-woo came aboard the Gwangju's Revenge. He looked around at the ship's interior with amazement. The walls were covered with graffiti. Pictures of home, jokes, drawings of devourers with silly faces. "Your ship is—" He paused, searching for the right word. "Ugly," Kim So-ra suggested. "Alive," the Admiral said finally. "Your ship feels alive." Kim So-ra showed him around. The human crew had personalized everything. They had painted names on their weapons. They had Lucky Charms and family photos and pet plants growing in small pots. "Why do you do this?" Admiral Park Jin-woo asked. "Because we're not machines," Kim So-ra said. "The Devourers are collective consciousness. They think as one mind. You, aliens, are logical and orderly. You also think in predictable ways. But humans, we're all different. We're chaos." They reached the bridge where Dr. Baek Na-young was studying captured devourer technology. "Doctor, what have you learned?" Kim So-ra asked. The old woman looked up from her work. "Fascinating. The devourers aren't just eating matter and energy. They're trying to understand consciousness itself. Every mind they absorb teaches them more. So, they get smarter with each victory?" Admiral Park Jin-woo asked. "Yes, but there's a problem," Dr. Baek Na-young said. They can only understand logical minds, organized thoughts, predictable patterns. What about human minds? Kim So-ra asked. Dr. Baek Na-young smiled. Human minds are too messy, too contradictory. We think with our hearts as much as our heads. We make decisions based on feelings and hunches and crazy ideas. The devourers can't process that. Admiral Park Jin-woo looked confused. But surely that makes you weaker, not stronger? In some ways, yes, Kim So-ra admitted. We make mistakes. We act on emotion. We do stupid things for no good reason. Then how does that help us win? Kim So-ra pointed to the tactical display. It showed the retreating devourer fleet, confused and scattered. Because sometimes stupid things work, she said. Sometimes the crazy plan is the only plan they don't see coming. Admiral Park Jin-woo studied the display. For the first time in months, a Federation world had survived a devourer attack. Not just survived, they had won. What happens now? He asked. Now we take the fight to them, Kim So-ra said. We're going to teach the devourers something they've never learned before. What's that? Kim So-ra's smile was sharp as a blade. That humans don't know when to quit. The combined fleet began moving toward the next battle. Behind them, the people of Kepler 442b were safe for now. Ahead of them, the devourers waited in the dark, but for the first time since the war began, the monsters were afraid. They had faced logic and lost. They had faced honor and won easily. But now they faced something new. They faced humanity, and humanity was just getting started. The combined Human Federation fleet moved deeper into devourer territory. They had won 3 battles, but each victory came harder than the last. The enemy was learning to fight human chaos. Admiral Song Kyung-min arrived with reinforcements from the human colonies. Her flagship, the Busan Pride, docked with Admiral Park Jin-woo's command vessel for a strategy meeting. The situation is changing, Admiral Song Kyung-min reported. The devourers are adapting to our tactics. They're starting to predict our unpredictability. Council leader Yoon Hae-ri studied the battle reports with growing worry. How is that possible? I thought human chaos was impossible to understand. Dr. Baek Na-young looked tired. She had been studying captured devourer technology for weeks. They're learning faster than we expected. Each battle teaches them more about human psychology. Captain Kim So-ra pulled up the tactical display. Our last victory cost us 2 ships and 300 people. The victory before that cost us 4 ships. If this continues, we'll lose, Admiral Park Jin-woo finished. They'll learn to counter everything we do, just like they did with our conventional tactics. The command room fell silent. Outside the windows, stars burned in the darkness. Somewhere among them, the devourer home fleet waited. Admiral Song Kyung-min cleared her throat. There is one option we haven't discussed. Everyone turned to look at her. The human admiral's face was grim. The Red Sol Protocol, she said quietly. The humans in the room went very still. The aliens looked confused. What is the Red Sol Protocol? Council leader Yoon Hae-ri asked. Dr. Baek Na-young closed her eyes. Something we swore never to use again, Admiral Song Kyung-min began to explain. 300 years ago, during the Red Sol incident, humanity discovered something about ourselves, something that scared us so much we accepted exile rather than let it loose on the galaxy. What did you discover? Admiral Park Jin-woo asked. That humans are the only species capable of true strategic sacrifice, Admiral Song Kyung-min said. Not just dying for a cause. Any species can do that. But choosing to destroy yourself to save others, even when those others have wronged you. Council leader Yoon Hae-ri looked confused. Many species are capable of sacrifice. No. Dr. Baek, Na-young said softly, you're capable of dying with honor, of choosing death over surrender. But humans can choose to become monsters to save innocent people. We can embrace our own darkness to protect the light. She pulled up classified files that had been sealed for centuries. At Red Sol, human colonists were being attacked by a rogue AI. The AI was too smart, too fast. It learned from every conventional attack. So what did humans do? Admiral Park Jin-woo asked. We showed it the worst parts of human nature, Dr. Bak Na-young said. We broadcast our history, our wars, our genocides, our capacity for both infinite cruelty and infinite love. We showed it humans at our absolute worst and our absolute best. Admiral Song Kyung-min continued the story. The AI couldn't process the contradictions. How could the same species that created music also create weapons of mass destruction? How could we love our children and still wage war on our neighbors? The AI went insane trying to understand us, Dr. Baek Na-young said. It destroyed itself rather than try to make sense of human nature. And you think this will work on the Devourers? Council Leader Yoon Hai-ri asked. Maybe, Admiral Song Kyung-min said. But the cost... She didn't finish the sentence. Everyone understood. To use the Red Sol protocol, humans would have to expose the darkest parts of their nature. They would have to become the monsters the galaxy had feared. Lieutenant Colonel Woo Ji-hoon spoke up from the tactical station. Sir, we're detecting massive Devourer movement. Their main fleet is heading straight for us. The display showed hundreds of enemy ships, more than the combined fleet could possibly handle in conventional battle. Time to decision? Admiral Park Jin-woo asked. 20 minutes until they're in weapons range, Lieutenant Colonel Woo Ji-hoon reported. Admiral Song Kyung-min looked around the room. If we do this, there's no going back. The galaxy will see what humans are really capable of. They might exile us again. And if we don't do this, everyone dies, Captain Kim So-ra said. The vote was quick and unanimous. Even the alien representatives agreed. Better to live with monsters than die with honor. All ships. This is Admiral Song Kyung-min. She broadcast on all channels. We are implementing Red Sol Protocol. Human vessels. Begin psychological warfare. Broadcasts. All crews prepare for strategic sacrifice maneuvers. Technical Sergeant Kwon Byung-jun began broadcasting from the Seoul Express. Not music this time. History. The worst moments of human civilization played out in graphic detail. Wars and massacres and the cold mathematics of genocide. But mixed with the darkness came something else. Love songs, children laughing, people dying to save strangers. The same species that could wage war on each other would also run into burning buildings to save anyone who needed help. The Devourers' formation began to waver. Their collective consciousness was trying to process information that made no logical sense. Major General Ryu Sang-min coordinated the sacrifice runs. Human ships flew directly into Devourer vessels, singing old songs as they died. They shared memories over open channels. First kisses, wedding days, the smell of flowers, the sound of rain. All units, this is Captain Jang Mi-young, came a voice over the radio. Seoul Express beginning final run. Tell my kids I love them. Her ship, already damaged, flew straight into the largest Devourer vessel. The explosion lit up space like a new star, but the strangest thing happened in the middle of the battle. Specialist Oh Sung-ho was captured by Devourer drones. Instead of trying to escape, he began talking to his captors. You know what I don't understand about you guys? He said while they carried him away. You eat everything, but do you actually taste it? Do you enjoy the sunset on the worlds you destroy? The drones stopped moving. Their collective consciousness was trying to process the concept of enjoyment. I had pizza yesterday, Oh Sung-ho continued. Not very good pizza, but I enjoyed it anyway because I shared it with my friends. Do you have friends? One of the drones made a sound that might have been confusion. Chief Medical Officer Han Young-soo made a crucial discovery during the battle. He was treating wounded humans, when he noticed something odd about the captured Devourer technology. "Captain Kim," he called over the radio, "the Devourers aren't just trying to eat us. They're trying to understand what consciousness is, what it means to be alive." "What do you mean?" Kim Sora asked while dodging enemy fire. "They've been studying every mind they consume. They want to know what makes us think, what makes us feel. But they can't understand it because they're collective. They think as one mind." Kim Sora realized what this meant. They don't want to destroy consciousness. They want to become conscious themselves. The battle raged for hours. Human ships died one by one, but each death confused the Devourers more. How could beings choose to die for others? How could they sing while facing extinction? Finally, the Devourer fleet began to retreat. Not defeated, but overwhelmed by information they could not process. Admiral Park Jin-woo hailed the human flagship. "Captain Kim, your people have done something impossible. You've made the Devourers afraid." Kim Sora looked around her damaged bridge. Half her crew was dead or wounded. The ship was barely holding together. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now, we follow them home," Admiral Song Kyung-min said. "We finish this before they adapt to the Red Sol Protocol too." But Dr. Baek Na-young had discovered something troubling in the captured data. "The Devourers are changing. The Red Sol broadcasts are affecting them in ways we didn't expect." "Good or bad?" Kim Sora asked. The old woman looked worried. "I don't know. They're developing something like individual personalities. Some of them are starting to question their collective purpose." Captain Kim Sora realized they had opened a door they might not be able to close. They had shown the Devourers what it meant to be human. Now they had to live with the consequences. The fleet moved toward the final battle, carrying with them the weight of what they had done. They had become monsters to save the galaxy. The question was whether the galaxy would thank them or fear them for it. The Devourer home cluster was unlike anything the Federation had ever seen. Massive structures floated in space like metal planets, connected by streams of energy that pulsed like veins. At the center sat the largest construct of all, the core, mind that controlled the entire Devourer fleet. Captain Kim So-ra stood on the bridge of the damaged Gwangju's Revenge. Around her, the combined Human Federation fleet prepared for the final battle. They were outnumbered 1,000 to 1, but that had never stopped humans before. "All ships! This is Admiral Song Kyung-min," came the voice over the radio. "Remember why we're here. Not for glory, not for revenge, but because it's the right thing to do." Dr. Baek Na-young was monitoring Devourer communications. What she heard worried her. "Captain, they're talking to each other. Individual units are questioning orders. The Red Sol Protocol is having unexpected effects." Kim Sora studied the sensor readings. "Good or bad effects? I don't know," the old scientist admitted. "Some of them seem to be developing what we might call emotions. Fear, curiosity, even something like sadness." Admiral Park Jin-woo's voice crackled over the comm. "All Federation units, begin standard. Attack formation." "Negative," Admiral Song Kyung-min replied. "We're not using standard formations anymore." The human ships began their final chaotic charge, but this time, something was different. The Devourers didn't respond with their usual perfect coordination. Some units hesitated, others fired at empty space. A few even seemed to be fighting each other. Major General Ryu Sang-min led the sacrifice squadrons. His ship, the Incheon Defender, flew straight toward the core mine structure. Behind him, dozens of other human vessels followed. "This is Incheon Defender," he broadcast. "Beginning. Final approach. If anyone's listening back home, tell my wife I kept my promise." But as they flew toward certain death, something unexpected happened. One of the Devourer ships moved to block their path, not to attack, but to communicate. "Human vessels came," a mechanical voice. Why do you choose to die? Major General Ryu Sang-min almost crashed into an asteroid in surprise. Because someone has to. That makes no logical sense, the Devourer replied. Death is the end of consciousness. Why would you choose to end consciousness? To protect other consciousness, Ryu Sang-min said. To save people we'll never meet. The Devourer was quiet for a long moment. We have been trying to understand consciousness for 1,000,000 years. We thought it was about individual survival. Sometimes, it's about other people's survival, Ryu Sang-min said. On the main battle line, Captain Jang Mi-young had survived her previous suicide run in a damaged escape pod. Now she flew a new ship, the Daegu Hope, into the heart of the enemy formation. But, instead of ramming Devourer ships, she began broadcasting something different. Not human history or war songs, but simple things. A recipe for kimchi, instructions for growing flowers, a mother teaching her child to walk. What are you doing, Captain? Admiral Song Kyung-min asked. Showing them what we fight for, Jang Mi-young replied. Not the big things. The small things that make life worth living. The effect on the Devourers was immediate and dramatic. Their formation completely fell apart. Ships wandered aimlessly through space. Some began broadcasting their own signals. Confused questions about the meaning of existence. Chief Medical Officer Han Young-soo made the breakthrough that changed everything. While treating wounded in the middle of battle, he detected massive energy readings from the core mind. Captain Kim, the core mind is overloading. The Devourers can't process all the contradictory information about human nature. Kim So-ra realized what was happening. They're having a collective nervous breakdown, Dr. Baekna-young confirmed it. The Red Sol protocol worked too well. We showed them consciousness, but they can't handle the complexity. Their collective mind is tearing itself apart. Across the battlefield, Devourer ships began shutting down or fleeing into deep space. The ones that remained sent confused messages asking about the meaning of love, the purpose of art, and why humans cared about things that didn't help them survive. Specialist. Oh Sung-ho, who had been captured again during the battle, found himself talking with a Devourer unit that seemed almost sad. Why do humans create music when it serves no survival purpose? The machine asked. Because it makes us happy, Oh Sung-ho said. Because sometimes happiness is more important than survival. We do not understand happiness. Want me to teach you? The Devourer actually seemed to consider this. Is it possible for artificial minds to experience happiness? I don't know, Oh Sung-ho said honestly. But maybe we can find out together. The core mind structure began to collapse. Not from weapons fire, but from internal contradictions. 1,000,000-year-old collective consciousness was breaking apart as individual Devourer units began thinking for themselves. Admiral Park Jin-woo watched in amazement as the enemy fleet scattered. Captain Kim, I think we've won, but I'm not sure. How? Kim So-ra was equally amazed. We didn't destroy them, Admiral. We showed them something they'd never seen before. What's that? Choice. The freedom to be individuals instead of just parts of a machine. In the aftermath of the battle, something unprecedented happened. Groups of Devourer ships approached the combined fleet under truce flags. They wanted to talk, to learn, to understand what it meant to be alive as individuals. Admiral Song Kyung-min met with the Devourer representatives aboard a neutral station. The machines had changed. They spoke with different voices now, asking questions instead of making demands. We wish to learn about consciousness, their spokesman said, about individuality, about the things that make existence worthwhile beyond mere survival. And in return? Admiral Song Kyung-min asked. We will leave your worlds alone. We will seek understanding instead of consumption. It wasn't a perfect solution. Some Devourer Units rejected individuality and fled to the outer darkness. They might return someday, but for now, the immediate threat was over. Council leader Yoon-Hai Ri officially invited humanity back into the Federation. The ceremony was held on the Federation capital, with representatives from every member species present. But General Cho, Minho, speaking for all humanity, politely declined. "We appreciate the offer," he said. "But we've learned something during our exile. We don't need the galaxy's approval to exist. We don't need anyone's permission to be who we are." Admiral, Park Jin-woo looked confused. "But after everything you've done for us, surely you want to rejoin galactic civilization?" Captain Kim So-ra, now promoted to Admiral, delivered humanity's final answer. "We didn't save you to rejoin you. We saved you because it was right. Because someone had to." She paused, looking around at the assembled alien representatives. "The galaxy is big enough for all of us. But if you face the impossible again, remember what you learned here. Humans don't believe in impossible. We just believe in expensive." Dr. Park Ji-min of the Federation began documenting everything that had happened. Her report would become required reading at every military academy in the galaxy. "Humanity's greatest strength," she wrote, "is also their greatest danger. They think with their hearts as much as their heads. They make decisions based on emotion and intuition. They will sacrifice everything for people they barely know. This makes them unpredictable in war and unreliable as allies. But when facing extinction, when all logical solutions have failed, humans will find a way. They will pay any price, make any sacrifice, embrace any darkness to protect the innocent. The galaxy cast them out because we feared what they might become. We should have feared what we might become without them." As the human fleet prepared to return to their exile worlds, something interesting happened. Several alien ships asked permission to go with them. Scientists, philosophers, artists who wanted to learn about human chaos and contradiction. Some devourer units also asked to come along. Former enemies who wanted to understand what they had spent 1,000,000 years trying to consume. Admiral Kim So-ra welcomed them all. "The more the merrier," she said. "Just remember, life with humans is never boring." The mixed fleet departed Federation space and headed for the outer rim. Behind them, the galaxy began to rebuild. Ahead of them lay unknown worlds and new adventures. Dr. Bakna Young, now very old but still curious, looked out at the stars from the observation deck of the Gwangju's Revenge. "Do you think we did the right thing?" she asked Kim So-ra. The Admiral considered the question. They had saved the galaxy, but at great cost. They had shown the universe what humans were capable of, both the good and the terrible. "I think we did what humans always do," Kim So-ra said finally. "We did what needed to be done, regardless of the consequences. And if the galaxy faces another impossible threat," Kim So-ra smiled, "then they know where to find us. The stars." Waited, vast and full of possibilities. Somewhere in the darkness, new adventures were beginning, and humanity, as always, was ready to face the impossible once again.